We're heading into Thursday night with one of the most talked about matchups of the week, Bills versus Dolphins under the primetime lights. This is a game that carries weight not just because of the AFC East rivalry, but because both teams are trying to make a statement early in the season. And as always, when these two squads meet, you can expect fireworks. But before the opening kickoff, it's time to dig into my 5 bold predictions for the game and take a close look at the injury situation that's already shaping the roster on both sides. Let's get into it. Now, when I give you predictions, I'm not just tossing out random stats or picking the obvious. I try to craft a story, something that connects what we've seen so far with what might unfold on the field. It's all about reading the rhythm of a team, the momentum of certain players, and how matchups really play out in the trenches and beyond. And right off the bat, I'm calling it. This is the week Josh Palmer gets into the end zone for the very first time as a Buffalo Bill. We've been seeing the signs, haven't we? Every week, Palmer's role grows just a little more. You can see the chemistry with Josh Allen building, even if the box score hasn't fully reflected it yet. He's running sharp routes, creating separation vertically, and Allen is definitely looking his way, especially in the red zone. Against the Jets, Palmer was inches away from breaking through. You could feel it. The Bills know he brings something a little different to that receiver group. And with the Dolphins' secondary looking shaky, particularly with their safeties biting on play action and leaving windows deep, I think Palmer finds pay dirt. So go ahead and mark it. Josh Palmer gets his first touchdown in a Bills uniform on Thursday night. Prediction number 2, and this one's for the big boys up front. I'm saying one of the rookie defensive tackles, either TJ Sanders or Deion Walker, is going to get their first career NFL sack. And this isn't just wishful thinking or try to hype up the young guns. This is about matchup and opportunity. Miami's guard situation, let's be honest, it's not good. Their left guard, Jonas Savaiinaea, is a rookie who's had a really rough go so far. Meanwhile, their right guard, Kean Smith, has barely played 100 snaps in the NFL, and most of that experience came at tackle. Now he's being thrown inside. That's not ideal. Add to that the fact that Tua is struggling under pressure this season. Over 50% of pressures are turning into sacks. That's a wild number. And it's not just that he's under pressure. It's how he's reacting. He's not escaping the pocket well. He's holding the ball longer, and he's not getting out to his first read as quickly as we've seen in the past. That tells me there's some hesitation in the system right now. So if Sanders or Walker can win just one rep, and they will get their chances, I think they finish the play. First sack coming Thursday night. You heard it here first. Now let's flip the field and talk about another player I've been high on, Khalil Shakir. I know I missed on him last week. He only had 1 catch, but if you watched that play, you saw why I still believe. He's explosive with the ball in his hands. The yards after catchability is obvious. And here's the thing. This matchup against Miami is tailor-made for him to get going. The Dolphins' primary slot defender is a rookie 5th-rounder from Florida, Case Marshall. And fun fact, he didn't even play in the slot in college. So now he's adjusting to NFL speed in a position he's not used to? That's tough. Miami also plays a lot of base defense, meaning Shakir could find himself matched up against linebackers or safeties, depending on how the Bills line up. And if that's the case, you better believe Allen will look his way. I'm calling it. Shakir goes for over 50 receiving yards in this one. He's due. The matchup is favorable, and I think the Bills' game plan will involve getting him going early to spread the field horizontally and open up those deeper shots later on. All right, 4th prediction, and this one's overdue. I think the Bills get their first interception of the season on Thursday night. So far, the defense has only come up with fumble recoveries, but that's about to change. Tua Tagovailoa has always been a bit aggressive, especially over the middle, and this year his turnover-worthy throw rate is sitting at over 7%. That is high, like alarmingly high, and that tells you he's taking chances, he's forcing balls, and things are not quite clicking the way they were in previous seasons. Yes, Tua had a great game the last time these two teams met. Over 90% completions, 2 touchdowns, no picks. But let's not forget how much has changed. This Dolphins offense is trying to evolve. They're using less play action, fewer screens, trying to become more diverse and less predictable. But that process takes time. And during that adjustment, mistakes happen. Misreads, timing issues, tip balls. All of those factors point to a real shot at a pick, and I think someone in the Bills secondary, maybe Jordan Poyer or even a linebacker dropping into coverage, comes up with a big play. And now, my final prediction for the night. I think the Bills take care of business and get the win. They should win this game. The numbers are in their favor. Buffalo has dominated this matchup recently, winning 13 of the last 14 meetings. They're double-digit favorites at home, and when you look at the circumstances, it's even more lopsided. The Dolphins are coming off a brutal, down-to-the-wire game against the Patriots, while the Bills were resting starters in the fourth quarter. That kind of freshness matters, especially on a short week. Let's talk snap counts for a second. Miami's defense has already logged almost 140 snaps in just 2 games. 6 of their defenders have played nearly every down. Compare that to Buffalo, whose entire defense has only been on the field for 98 total snaps. That's a huge difference in wear and tear. Guys like Zach Sealer are already close to 100 reps through 2 weeks, while the Bills' rotation has stayed light. And now Miami has to travel to Buffalo on a short week and play under the lights? That's a tough spot. Add in the fact that Buffalo has been sharp, efficient, and explosive at home, and this feels like a game they control from start to finish. Of course, anything can happen in the NFL, and you can never take your foot off the gas. But if the Bills execute, if they capitalize on those weak interior matchups, and if they stay on schedule offensively, they should come out of this one with a win and a perfect 3-0 record heading into their mini-bye. Now, before we shift over to the injury report, let's be real. This game isn't just about star power or flashy plays. It's also going to come down to who's available. The Bills are dealing with some key injuries, and those could absolutely impact how this game unfolds. We're going to break all of that down next with insight from Dr. Kyle Trimble from Banged Up Bills. He's got the latest on Matt Milano, Ed Oliver, Taron Johnson, and more, so stick around. Because what's happening on the injury front might just decide who shines on Thursday night. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the injury report. It's already been a brutal stretch for the Bills, and unfortunately, it's not getting much better heading into Thursday night. First name we got to dive into is Matt Milano. He's one of the emotional leaders of this defense, and a player whose impact goes way beyond the stat sheet. When he's not on the field, you feel it, and the uncertainty around his status has been frustrating, to say the least. He left the Jets game early, and initially, everyone thought it might be a lower body issue, maybe a hamstring. That's how it looked on the broadcast. But it turns out it's a shoulder problem. More specifically, it's being called a pectoral injury. And here's the thing. This isn't the first time Milano has dealt with something like this. Back in 2020, he had a pectoral strain on the opposite side. That one ended up being serious enough to put him on injured reserve, even though he initially tried to come back. This time, it's the right shoulder, and the team has been cagey about how bad it is. There were reports he was wearing a brace on the sideline during the Jets game, which usually signals some kind of soft tissue or structural damage. The fact that he didn't return, didn't practice, and is already ruled out for the Dolphins game tells you they're being cautious, maybe more than cautious. The coaching staff has been vague, saying they need more information, and that usually means it's not a simple strain. Now, I'm not saying it's season-ending or anything like that, but this might not be a one-week absence either. The mechanics of how he landed, arms outstretched, absorbing the fall on one side, could mean more than just a pec strain. There could be involvement of the rotator cuff or even a partial tear. Right now, they're not putting him on IR, but that doesn't mean he's coming back immediately. It could be 2 or 3 weeks, maybe more, depending on how he responds to treatment. And until he's back, that puts pressure on guys like Dorian Williams to step up and fill some really big shoes. Speaking of players the Bills are going to be without, let's move to Ed Oliver. He missed Sunday's game and has already been ruled out for Thursday night. And there's a pattern here that's a little concerning. He's been spotted with a boot on his right foot, and that alone tells you it's not just a bruise or soreness. The story is that he got stepped on in practice, but this doesn't look like something minor. High ankle sprain is the phrase that keeps coming up when you watch the mechanics of what likely happened. That twisting motion, the rolled-up movement when a lineman gets stepped on, it all adds up. And what's worrying is the timing. It's already been over a week, and he's still in a boot and hasn't practiced at all, not even in a limited fashion. That's not great. If it were a low ankle sprain or something truly minor, he'd at least be doing walk thrusts. We've seen Oliver deal with ankle issues before. Back in 2022, he had a similar injury on the opposite side and ended up missing 3 games. And even when he came back, he wasn't quite the same for a while. These things linger, especially for explosive interior players like Oliver who rely on quick bursts and leverage. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he misses another game beyond this week. The short week certainly doesn't help, but even with the mini-bye, this feels like an injury that needs time. Let's keep it going with Taron Johnson. Now, this one's a little murkier. He was questionable last week, went through warm-ups, and ultimately didn't play against the Jets. He's been limited in practice with a quad injury ever since. The good news is, it seems like he's close. There were reports that he put in a strong effort in pre-game last week, but didn't quite feel right. And when it comes to soft tissue injuries, especially on a short week, you've got to trust the player's instincts. If he wasn't feeling 100%, it makes sense to hold him out rather than risk a setback. My gut feeling is that Johnson suits up this time around. He's had some time to recover, and the signs point to him being right on the edge of being ready. And the Bills are going to need him badly. Miami's speed on offense is no joke. If you're down your starting nickel corner, things can get ugly fast, especially with all the motion and misdirection they use. That said, if Johnson can't go, Cam Lewis is next in line, but he's also dealing with an injury. Lewis has been limited all week with what's listed as a shoulder issue, but there's more going on than just that. There were signs he was dealing with an ankle knock too, possibly from the Jets game when he collided with Tyrod Taylor on special teams. But here's where it gets tricky. He's been spotted wearing a red non-contact jersey during practice, which usually signals a lingering or significant injury. And he's also had a brace on that right shoulder going back to training camp. With both Johnson and Lewis questionable, it might fall on rookie Jordan Hancock to take snaps for the first time in an NFL game. That's not ideal against Miami's offensive scheme. So Bills fans better hope at least one of those 2 veterans can suit up. Now let's shift to Shaq Thompson, another key depth piece who's also banged up. He missed last week's game due to a hamstring issue and is now being listed with a hamstring and hand injury. He's been limited in practice and was spotted wearing heavy tape on both his leg and his hand. The hamstring problem dates back to early August during training camp, and it seems like it's one of those nagging injuries that keeps flaring up. The hand issue, on the other hand, likely came during special teams play in Week 1. There's been speculation he might have jammed or even fractured a finger or two, and he's now playing with a splint. Now, players can absolutely suit up with a club or some protection on the hand. That's manageable. But the hamstring is the real concern. Soft tissue injuries, especially ones that linger over multiple weeks, are tough to manage. The good news is he was taking reps with the other linebackers during practice this week, which means he's at least trending in the right direction. If he can't go, though, the Bills will have to bring someone up from the practice squad to provide depth behind Dorian Williams and Terrell Bernard. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Whispers around the NFL have been swirling for days, and today the rumor mill seems almost impossible to ignore. MALACHI CORLEY is reportedly set to join the Buffalo Bills. While the team hasn't officially announced every detail beyond his arrival, insiders suggest that this move could shake up the Bills roster in ways fans have been eagerly anticipating. CORLEY, known for his explosiveness and versatility, has been a standout in every stop of his career, and the mere idea of him suiting up in Buffalo has already sparked feverish debate among analysts and supporters alike. Sources close to the team hint that CORLEY's signing is more than just a depth addition. It might be a strategic play designed to inject new energy into an offense that has flirted with brilliance, but occasionally fallen short when it mattered most. Speculation is rife about how the coaching staff plans to utilize him. Will he slot in as a dynamic wide receiver, or could he surprise everyone by taking on special teams duties? The possibilities seem endless, and the buzz is unmistakable. Fans across social media are already imagining highlight reels featuring CORLEY weaving through defenses, catching impossible passes, and sparking a rejuvenated Bills attack. Meanwhile, sports commentators are dissecting the potential impact on the team's chemistry, roster balance, and even the salary cap. Some argue that his presence could push existing players to elevate their game, while others worry about the pressure of expectations on someone stepping into such a high-profile situation. What adds fuel to the speculation fire is the timing of this rumored move. Coming at a point in the season when momentum is crucial, CORLEY's addition could be just what the Bills need to turn heads and command respect in a fiercely competitive division. Rumor or reality, one thing is clear. The mere mention of his name in Buffalo has set tongues wagging and keyboards clacking. Whether this will translate into on-field dominance remains to be seen, but for now, fans can't stop talking. The city is buzzing with anticipation, imagining a new chapter in the Bills' story, one where MALACHI CORLEY could play a starring role. As whispers grow louder, one can only wonder, are we witnessing the start of something truly spectacular, or is this just another tantalizing tease from the rumor mill? Either way, all eyes are on Buffalo, and all ears are listening. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.